This case is going to test one of two theories, gender fluidity to the max, or
it was just a Halloween costume in advance.
It's me! Jessica!
Viva Fry, former Montreal litigator turned current Florida Rumbler, in my home office with a story that really tests the limits of the absurdity of the whole 2S LGBTQIA+ movement. I mean, this case takes gender fluidity to the next level. A man dressing up like a woman, going into the woman's locker room so that he could videotape people in the bathroom. Record people in the bathroom. I'm showing my age a little bit. And now he's getting arrested, and I'm sure he's thinking, what's the big deal? I've seen thousands of people do this on the internet. Not only were they not arrested, they were celebrated. From DC News, MCPD, man dressed as woman arrested after recording woman in gym shower. I'm sorry, did they just say a man dressed as a woman? That is totally transphobic. That was a man who, for that very brief moment in time, identified as a woman to the point where he dressed as one, and then when he got out of the bathroom, he realized he's going back to being a man. Oh wait, but that would be too absurd to be true, right? I mean, this whole gender fluidity thing means nothing else other than the fact that you are gender fluid.
Let's debunk some myths about being gender fluid. Myth number 1, you don't have to keep alternating between feminine and masculine presenting every few days or every day. Myth number 2, you don't have to use all pronouns. A lot of gender fluid people do use any and all pronouns, but not everyone, including me. Myth number 3, not all gender fluid people wake up and suddenly feel like a boy, or wake up and suddenly feel like a girl. It doesn't always work that way.
All right, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's get to the details of this article because it's a doozy. Gaithersburg, Maryland, DC News Now. A Tacoma Park man was arrested after he was accused of sneaking into the women's gym bathroom under a disguise and recording a woman in the shower. Now detectives are searching for more victims. The Montgomery County Police Department, MCPD, said its investigation began on Friday, October 10, when officers responded to the One Life Fitness Club on Seneca Meadows Parkway in Germantown. There, a woman reported that a person had entered the woman's locker room and began recording her while she was in the shower. Through investigation, the suspect was identified as 44-year-old Chakundi Tatey. Detectives then discovered that Tatey would disguise himself as a woman to get into the women's locker room. After committing the crime, he would remove his disguise in an attempt to conceal his identity and run away. No, don't you see? He momentarily identified as a woman, and then when he left the locker room, he no longer identified as a woman, and you're a bigot for thinking anything else. And isn't it shocking that gyms would allow biological males in the women's locker room? Oh wait, I'm sorry, gyms have been priding themselves on doing this in the name of tolerance for quite some time now. In every woman there's a sacred space. Let's raise our voices, let them hear. The joy in our hearts will persevere. Join the party. Oh, and isn't it shocking that a biological male has entered the female locker room, changing room, whatever, and is recording people in the washroom? My goodness, people have been celebrated for doing this on the internet. The thing that I find most shocking about this is I don't understand the mentality of somebody who would go into a women's locker room in order to record women showering in a locker room. I mean, it seems like it would be much safer just to go online, you know, and make use of all of the infinite amount of nudity and pornography on the internet.
Internet is really, really great.
But alas, I guess this is the nature of the criminal. It's not just about seeing naked women. It's about being in control, recording naked women when they don't know they're being recorded after you've snuck into the bathroom dressed as a woman, because somehow that has been celebrated as behavior for the last several years now. And here you have mugshots of the before and after. Men dressed as women allowed into locker rooms and gyms, priding themselves on the inclusivity and tolerance, wearing face masks so that people can't identify you in public. This is the reality of the tolerant left in America today. In other words, batshit insane.
Excuse me, what are you doing in the women's bathroom?
I'm sorry?
What are you doing in the women's bathroom?
I'm peeing.
Okay, but you're a man.
No.
Yes, you are. You are clearly a man, and you were just in the women's bathroom. Do you know how much money I pay for this school, and now there's a man in my bathroom?
Well, you should talk to the administration.
Oh, I definitely will.
Good.
But why do you feel the need to go into women's spaces as a man? No comment on that? Do you think women don't deserve their own private spaces? Nothing? Really? Do you support women's rights? No? Okay, so there's just a man in our bathroom. That's wonderful. so that the University of Tampa allows this.
What are you doing?
Going to the bathroom.
Why are you in the girls' bathroom?
I'm a transfer.
But you're not a girl.
Oh, we're doing one of these.
Yeah.
Interesting. Never had this before. I don't know what to say.
Weeks later, on October 29, investigators followed Tati to a Planet Fitness in White Oak. There, he was found in the women's locker room, masked as a woman. He was quickly apprehended and taken to the Montgomery County Central Processing Unit. Tati was charged with peeping Tom and related offenses. The MCPD urges anyone who may have been a victim of Tati to call police at 240-773-6200. Well, at least we're making progress now. It would seem that being a man dressed as a woman in a bathroom might be a source of suspicion and not a source of pride. I guess we're making baby steps. But in case anybody is wondering how this could possibly have happened, well, I guess celebrating men in women's bathrooms for the last several years might lead to some abuse by the true sociopaths and narcissists who want to go in there and victimize women.
Every woman, there's a sacred space.
And since we're on the issue of people who support this insane policy, this institutionalized misogyny, AOC, I'm looking at you. Lest we forget the other day AOC taking to Twitter to try to shame Riley Gaines, a woman who was forced to be in a locker room with a man who identified as a woman despite his penis. AOC mocking Riley Gaines, a woman who had to be tied with a biological male because that man decided to compete in women's sports because he couldn't compete against other men. And the tolerant left, in all of their tolerance and wisdom and trust the science and follow the science, AOC takes to Twitter to try and actually shame Riley Gaines for standing up to this nonsense for several years and actually tries to make fun of her for not having a real job, despite the fact that she has a job and she is a mother. Something which can't really be said for AOC, who, above and beyond being a bartender, and I don't make fun of her for that, was plucked into the position of congresswoman and herself is not a mother, and may she one day understand the beauty of what it means to be a mother and the job that goes into being a mother. But alas, the left has become a party of misogynists, homophobes, deniers of science, and facilitating this type of abuse against women. Alright, that is the vlog. If you like what I do, you know what to do. Like, share, subscribe, turn on notifications. As you can probably tell, I've got a bit of a cold, so I'm going to go bask in the ocean, gargle with the salt water, and hopefully cleanse myself a little bit, but most importantly, exercise, eat healthy, sunlight, talk to people in real life, and now you know your vlog. Peace out, peeps. Booyah!
And then you get to JD Vance, who is a failed drag queen. You know, he is. He is a failed drag queen. He wanted to be a drag queen. He couldn't do it. He wasn't fabulous enough. He goes off to Peter Thiel's gay boot camp in Silicon Valley, and he comes out like a sociopathic, queer-eyed freak show. You know, he'd be so much cooler if he'd just come out. And, you know, I have this whole theory, Tommy, that in the MAGA movement, there's a group of DL demon queens. And I think that a lot of them are mad that they can't come out and feel pride. And so they browbeat everybody all day long. And then they get on Grindr at night and then they go do gay stuff.